Coming up on 5 Minute News. Defense Secretary in Tel Aviv to meet Israeli counterpart. Japan's Nippon Steel to acquire US Steel. And man charged with drunk driving after crashing into Biden's motorcade. It's Tuesday, December 19. I'm Santa Templeton. The US says its support of Israel is unshakable as it pushes for major operations in Gaza to wind down. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has been in Tel Aviv for talks where he continued to urge for the protection of civilians. He's one of a number of the country's closest allies who are urging it to wind down its military offensive, with fears over the number of civilians being injured or killed, including UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who has called for a sustainable ceasefire to allow aid into Gaza. Airstrikes are continuing after Israel promised to get rid of Hamas following its attacks on October 7, with Israeli forces insisting they're targeting the group's infrastructure. During a press conference, Lloyd Austin repeated that the US support for Israel's right to defend itself is ironclad. He added talks with officials included how to reduce harm to civilians and the need to ensure a transition from higher intensity operations to lower intensity operations and a more surgical approach. Austin also confirmed the US will continue to supply weapons to the Israeli military. Meanwhile, Israel's defense minister confirmed it will not control Gaza in any civilian way following the war. The Israel-Hamas war has now passed the 2-month mark. A temporary ceasefire ended on December 1, and Israel has resumed its bombardment of Gaza. The end of the ceasefire came after Hamas freed over 100 of the more than 200 people its militants took hostage during the October 7 surprise attack on Israel. In exchange, Israel released more than 200 Palestinians from Israeli prisons. Pittsburgh steel producer US Steel, which played a key role in the nation's industrialization, is being acquired by Japanese company Nippon Steel. The all-cash deal has been valued at approximately $14.1 billion, a price tag which is nearly double what was offered 4 months ago by rival Cleveland Cliffs. US Steel will keep its name and headquarters in Pittsburgh, where it was founded in 1901 by J.P. Morgan and Andrew Carnegie. Nippon said it will also honour all collective bargaining agreements in place with the United Steelworkers Union and other employees, and is committed to maintaining its relationship with workers. Soaring prices have helped fuel consolidation in the steel industry this decade. Nippon said the acquisition is anticipated to bring its total annual crude steel capacity to 86 million tonnes and help it capitalise on growing demand for high-grade steel, automotive and electrical steel. US Steel Chief Executive David Burritt said the deal is beneficial to the United States, ensuring a competitive domestic steel industry while strengthening our presence globally. The deal, which was approved by both companies' boards, still needs approval from US Steel shareholders. A Delaware man has been charged with drunk driving after he ploughed his vehicle into the US President Joe Biden's motorcade on Sunday night. The car hit the parked SUV in what Wilmington police called an accidental collision. The US President and First Lady, Jill Biden, were unharmed in Sunday evening's incident. While Mr. Biden was walking from the campaign office to his waiting armoured SUV, a saloon hit a US Secret Service vehicle being used to close off junctions near the headquarters. The saloon then tried to continue into a closed-off junction before Secret Service personnel surrounded the car with weapons drawn and instructed the driver to put his hands up. Mr. Biden paused and looked over towards the sound, surprised, before being ushered into the vehicle. His schedule was otherwise unaffected by the incident. The man, a 46-year-old from Wilmington, was charged with driving a vehicle under the influence of alcohol and inattentive driving, said David Karras, a spokesman for the Wilmington Police Department. The US Secret Service said there was no protective interest associated with this event.
5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.